Welcome back to Ready Bet Action, man. It is NFL Week 2. It was college football Week 3. It is NFL Week 2. We are diving in. We know this because early season NFL is hard to lock down, y'all. Teams are warming up. We're trying to figure out how to lock in here for the midseason. I'm excited for a huge week for us in the NFL, though. Mike, any games you're excited for this week in the NFL in particular? I got a few.
Yeah, there's a few. I think the biggest one being the Super Bowl rematch. Really curious to see how that plays out. I'm also very intrigued by the Chargers after last week. It seems to be a bit of a philosophy change so far in how they're going to handle that offense, and Herbie carried it with no issues. So I'm very intrigued if they continue to take that path or if they go back to ground and pound.
Totally agree. I hope the Chiefs just continue to lose every single football game. They will not. I'm excited for that Eagles Chiefs game. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Chiefs bounce back here this week. Although the injuries are pretty rough, Chiefs might have to gain some momentum later in the year. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this Commanders Packers game tonight, man. I think this is a crazy good Thursday night game for week 2 that we get to watch. I'm not making a show bet. I wasn't sure if the show was going to be out or not. We'll see. But I'm all over the Packers 3.5 in that one.
Yep.
But I'm
on the Commanders.
There we go. See,
points. Give me those points.
Again, none of us have show bets on this, but we can at least go back to this conversation for reference. So good.
Austin Ekeler receptions. Find it and take it.
Nice. Okay. If we get this out, go do all of that. Stefan, what about you? What games?
I mean, I'm curious. Jacksonville, Cincinnati. Again, I'm a Jaguars fan when they're good until they're irrelevant, and then it's Ravens. But we'll talk about that later in the season. But Cincinnati, they kind of struggled against Cleveland last, in a win. So yeah, but Joe Burrow did nothing. For fantasy purposes and props, all of their players were disappointments, other than maybe Chase Brown with his touchdown. But now against Jacksonville, whose defense was horrid last year. Much better against the Panthers. What are they going to look like? Will they be able to keep Cincinnati shut down, or does Cincinnati go off? I kind of think Cincinnati goes off. I love them. I was looking at Joe Burrow props. You can't bet over 1.5 touchdowns, but 2.5 touchdown passes is at plus 126 or something. So I was tempted to bet that, but 3 touchdowns is kind of what Vegas is expecting here. So it's going to be a fun one.
I need this win this week to hit my win 3 out of 5 games. So I'm all in.
That's why I'm on it. All right. Well, let's open up with that. I have the most picks. Let's just start with that game because that's what we're talking about. I think I'm the only one with a pick on this game. I'll have to go ahead and take the Bengals minus 3.5. Lay the 3.5. They put that number out there to scare you. I love it. I love taking a good 3.5 in the NFL, man. I think the Bengals at home have a great bounce back game. I got a Jamar Chase prop as well because I think it's a big bounce back for a very underwhelming week 1 for the Bengals. I do like the Jaguars better this year, but I think I'm just honestly rolling with Mike's pick that the Bengals are going to start hot, and I'm going to back Mike on that. We got to get this one to have momentum for how many is it, Mike? 4 out of 5 or 3 out of 5?
3 out of 5.
Yep, 3 out of 5. Let's go you got to go get one against the Jags. No offense, Dave. You got to beat the Jags at home if you're going to win the first 3 out of 5.
No, this is one that I counted as a win when I made that play, and then they need one. I forget. I know the Vikings are included in there somewhere, and honestly, based on how they looked last week, I think they get it. I'm not too sweating too much. The slow start last week, it was against the Browns, and that happens sometimes in those rivalry games too. So, yeah, I'm with you. I expect a big bounce back.
I think Joe Burrow only beat the Browns once in Cleveland before last week.
Wow. I didn't realize that. That's nuts.
Yeah. I kind of like this to be a higher scoring game. It's one of the higher totals on the week. I like Trevor Lawrence over 21.5 throws, forward passing motion throws.
Motions with the arm.
Yeah, sorry. So it's not an official bet, but I kind of like that angle. It is actually, we're going to make that official bet out of order. You can add it to my props. I think they're catch-up mode. Last week we saw them in front, and that's why Etienne had such a huge game on the ground. This week I think they're more trying to keep up or catch up, and we see a lot more in the passing game. I like Brian Thomas for DFS. I like Chase Jamar Chase. I like Joe Burrow. All to have big games. So I'm with you guys. Cincinnati.
Yeah. BTJ needs a big bounce back week. He absolutely destroyed me last week.
Yeah, they just didn't need him. Like that
No.
weather delay hit, and so everything got weird.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sneaky good game there. Really excited for it. Stefan, why don't you hit us with your first pick of the week?
Okay, so spicy take. I still think Atlanta won last week. Like, I don't understand what took place at the end of that game. Both of my picks this week are including the teams that played in that game. My first one, I want to back Atlanta on the road at Minnesota. I think there's a lot of perception around Minnesota that changed in that fourth quarter when JJ McCarthy all of a sudden figured it out. I don't think he's going to start every game where he left off in the fourth quarter.
No.
I think we're going to see slow starts from him. Atlanta, I believe, is going to get their play calling. We were talking about this right before the show. Mikey was saying how frustrating that was. I don't worry about that because that can change depending on the opponent, depending on the philosophy for that week. What you do have is incredible skill position players in Atlanta. Minnesota, I think, does take a little bit of a step back this year. Give me the road dog Falcons 3.5.
I love it. I think if London and Mooney had not been questionable, this number would have been much larger. But they're both projecting to play at this point. So I think it's another good week for the Falcons here.
Yeah, I got them in a couple parlays just to win. Absolutely love it. Yeah, I mean, JJ McCarthy had a great fourth quarter, but the first three were abysmal. Like him and Caleb Williams brain swapped in the fourth quarter, and like it was Caleb Williams who just like collapsed, which is what McCarthy looked like in his first game, and then they just swapped brains, and that's how that happened. Awesome. Mike, hit us with your next one.
Yeah, I'm going to go Cowboys minus 4.5 at home against the Giants. Got a couple of Cowboys plays this week. The Giants are just as bad as they were last year, if not somehow worse. Russell Wilson just looks terrible. Just hearing just rumors that Dable tried to bench him, but the office wouldn't let him. I don't know how accurate that is, but it wouldn't surprise me as bad as he played and as good as Jackson Dart looked in the preseason. Dak, his last season when he was healthy was in 2023 when he was healthy for the whole season, averaged 37.4 points per game at home versus 23 on the road. He plays better football when he is at home. And when you look at the massive drops that CeeDee Lamb had last week, I expect both of these guys to come out slinging it, fully fired up, ready for a big bounce back week after the loss last weekend. Javonte Williams, he scored twice, but he was pretty inefficient on the ground. He only averaged like 3.4 yards a carry. This is a team that's going to have to stretch the field. They're going to have to throw the ball and score a lot more points. And I expect that to happen here against the Giants just because the Giants are that bad. So minus 4.5, I like it here a lot.
Man, I love Javonte Williams coming out of college. I just want to say the amount of people who thinks they got some like huge fantasy football steal because they have Javonte Williams on their roster are going to be very disappointed for the rest of the season because he has a couple good goal scoring opportunities. And other than that, he wasn't really that amazing.
He's going to get opportunities, but that's the only thing you can guarantee at this point.
Exactly. All right. Well, I'll go right into my Cowboys pick. I have a money line parlay, so you're going to take two teams just to win who are both favorites. Give me the Cowboys on the money line and also give me the Cardinals on the money line as well. These are both teams that I have winning this week in general. I thought I'd smash them together and get us a nice little minus 109. The Cardinals are, I think, just a sneaky good team this year, and they're going to be sneaky good as long as Michael Harrison Jr., Trey McBride and Kyler are all healthy. I'm going to like them a lot until one of them eventually and inevitably is not healthy anymore. So I'm going to keep picking the Cardinals until that happens. Stefan, you have these guys in a parlay too, though.
Yeah, I like the Cardinals to get the win here. I think the Panthers might be the worst team in the NFL, right up there with the Saints, right down there with the Saints, I suppose you could say. We expect to see improvement from the Panthers as the year goes on. I think the receiving core is young. I think as they develop, maybe something later on. But right now, I don't think so. at home. Give me the Cardinals as part of a money line parlay that I'm going to put together with the Bills on the road at New York Jets. Jets coming off a heartbreak defeat. Bills coming out of a thriller victory. Kind of opposite sides of the spectrum. So, sometimes you wonder about that kind of thing. Like, is it a letdown spot? But maybe it is a double letdown spot. Maybe both teams are feeling dejected. One dejected and one elated, and they meet somewhere in the middle. I don't know. I don't know how to read into all that, but I do think the Bills beat the Jets 8 times out of 10, going head to head. So go ahead and give me that parlay, and you get that at -132. That's the Bills and the Cards.
And Bill showed that resiliency last week. I'm liking the Bills. I'm really hoping we get a Bills and Ravens AFC Championship game after what we saw last week. I would love it, and just not have to see the Chiefs in that game. I would personally. Well, yes, obviously, I want the Broncos there. I'm not sure the Broncos are getting that far. Cool. Well, let's also move on to Mike has a pick for the Bills as well, and a little bit of a teaser for us.
Yeah, I'm going to take a little team total parlay here. First leg of that being the Bills to score more than 20 points, so over 20.5. And then putting that with Eagles over 19.5 team total points against the Chiefs. Both teams on the road here, but both very high-powered offenses. As good as the Bills looked, I don't think there's any chance in which they don't score at least 20 points against the Jets. They've scored more than 20 points in their last 5 straight against the Jets, and they've scored at least 21 in all but 2 games that Josh Allen played last year. So lots of good historical pieces there. Same with the Eagles, man. They've hit 20 or more in all but 2 games of last year, and last week they looked fantastic against Dallas. I just expect them to come out and keep rolling. Even if these games do somehow get close, they're not going to be stuck under 40 points as a game total. So I think both of these hit pretty easily, and you can get it at -125.
Yeah, I like both. I like both of those. I made a hefty sum of money on the Eagles team total over in the Super Bowl. Was set at like 23.5, and I put like my kids' college tuition on that and won. So I love that against the Chiefs. I love that against the Chiefs.
Just double down with me.
Yeah. Don't do that. Don't actually put meaningful money on that, please. If you're listening, gamble responsibly. All right. I'll go with the team total over as well. Give me the Rams, man. Team total over 23.5 at the Titans. I mean, look, guys, the Broncos offense looked awful last week, and they were still able to score against the Titans. So the Rams are going to go to Nashville. 23.5 feels like a great number to me. The Rams got off to a slow start, but I don't see Matthew Stafford throwing a couple interceptions like Bo Nix did. I think the Titans are also a really bad team. So I'm going to take the Rams. I actually might even like the -5.5 that they are the favorites by. But give me the Rams offense to kick it up a notch and get over that 23.5 points against the Titans. It is going to be like 96 degrees in Nashville. That's going to be brutal, but I think they still get it.
I took it off the board, but I had the full game under on the card for the Rams Titans here, under 42.5. So that's not a direct fight, and it didn't make the board. But I wanted to at least say caution. No, I don't know. My hesitancy was more on the Tennessee side. They just look so inept offensively. So it doesn't have much to do with the Rams. I could see the Rams putting up 27 and the under 42.5 still hitting. So
yeah, if the Broncos can score 20 plus playing like they did last week on the Titans, I believe in the Rams to get 4 more points here. All right, I think each of you have one more pick. Let's move to the Bears and Lions. Mike, you have a pick on the Bears and Lions game.
Yeah, big bounce back week here for the Lions. -5.5 points. I'm taking them to cover that at home against the Bears. Caleb Wilson's still just folding like a taco under pressure, man. He is just You texted us last week in the middle of the game, and I think you hit it on the nail when you said he may be the most talented quarterback in the league when he's not under pressure. But as soon as the game gets close, he's toast. And he did the exact same thing in college. Detroit, on the other hand, they've got their old OC coming back to his former stomping grounds. And Detroit is going to come out and prove to him that they actually don't need him and they're going to be just fine. You look at that game against Green Bay last week. Jahmyr Gibbs had 19 touches for a total of 50 yards. That man has done that a total of like twice in his entire career, going back to his rookie season. That is simply a case of Green Bay swarming and being fast as balls everywhere they want to go. This Chicago defense will not be able to do that and get to the ball carrier that fast. The Lions are going to come out. They're going to put up points. I think this is going to be a revenge game for themselves, and really bounce back after a very slow start last week. So -5.5.
Yeah, I like that too, man. I mean this as a giant fan of mental health, and everyone should go get therapy. And I don't mean this in any kind of slight to that. Caleb Williams needs a sports psychologist and not a football coach. That man is talented talented shoulders to toe, and he has a hard time keeping that together when the pressure gets on. But we will see how it goes. I'm also all over the Lions, man. I think Dan Campbell coming back home after a loss is just someone's going to run through a wall for that man this week.
Yep.
So, all right, Stefan, you have our last. Wait, you have a pick. I have a pick. So hit us with your Buccaneers pick.
Yeah, so I teased this one earlier. Tampa Bay looked really, really good in a win. That's something that Houston cannot say on either side. They did not win, nor did they look good. I don't understand how Houston went from a 1.5 point favorite to a 3 point favorite. Give me Tampa Bay +3. If you're giving the 3 points because of home field advantage, okay, let's say this is on a neutral field. Tampa Bay the wrong team is favored. Tampa Bay is going to beat Houston, but I'll take the 3 points. Houston's offensive line showed to be a problem yet again. And I think Tampa Bay can take advantage of that. We saw what Emeka Egbuka can add to that passing game as a real vertical threat, something that Tampa Bay now has, someone to replace Mike Evans with. That's pretty incredible. So I think he's going to be a hit for sure. Bucky Irving will get going. I just like Tampa Bay to win this game, but I'll take the 3 points.
Yeah, I love it. Might as well take that little cushion, huh?
Yeah,
that's spot on. All right, my last pick, Homer pick. Give me the Broncos to beat the Colts, and I actually like them to beat up on the Colts. I think there is a gross overreaction to how bad the Broncos played, and a massive overreaction to how good the Colts played. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it is the Broncos defense against Daniel Jones, and that is all that needs to be said for me. So y'all have any problems with that one?
I think this could get sneaky close.
Denver -2 was also on my board. Didn't make the cut, but it was close. So I'm leaning the same way as you, Eric.
I can't buy into Daniel Jones against the number one defense being a winning matchup. But
I can't imagine Bo Nix has another performance like that.
Yeah.
Throwing if that's probably Bo Nix's worst game of the year, and we won it somehow. Come on now. I'll take that.
Exactly. I think the Titans overperforming a little bit, but mostly because the Broncos were awful. Well, let's move on to player props. We got a number of player props for you for this weekend. I'm all about the bounce backs this week. So I have a couple, but we won't start with mine. I just have a couple of just elite players that all I'm doing is calling a bounce back. I'm not even bringing advanced data this week. I'm just saying their first week was so bad, they have to have a bounce back. Mike, what do you got for us, though, with your props?
Yeah, we'll start with a throwback to the success we had last year, picking against the bottom feeders, and that's James Conner playing the Carolina Panthers, going over 63.5 rushing yards at -113. This team gave up 179 yards per game on the ground last year, and then last week they just gave up 143 yards to Travis Etienne, who didn't rush for more than 68 yards all of last season. Granted, there's been a whole new coaching philosophy change in Jacksonville, and I do expect Cohen to unleash Etienne a little bit more and unlock a bit more of what he hasn't had yet to this point in his career. But the Panthers still just kind of suck stopping the run, man. When Arizona played them last season, James Conner rushed for over 117 yards. The only thing that I have concerned about this one is that James Conner is no stranger to injury. So who knows what happens there. But over 63.5, I mean, this number is only going to climb every week from here on out for the rest of the season against the Panthers. So might as well take it this low while you can get it.
Love that.
I have thoughts. I have thoughts because I was on Trey Benson's rushing props last week, and that also hit. I think you can play both. I think you can.
I agree.
I can't find Trey Benson's right now. It was at like 12.5, but he ended up getting or 20 last week or something like. Anyway, it's probably going to be about 35. I think you play them both. They probably both hit, but you damn well know one of them's going to hit.
Absolutely.
So I like that one a lot.
Awesome. Well, give me my first bounce back player. I don't care if it's against the Chiefs. AJ Brown over 65.5 receiving yards. Yeah, he didn't even hit this in the Super Bowl. I get it. I'm just calling a bounce back spot. He caught a lot of shit, man, when essentially he didn't do anything last game, and everyone was like, this man just disappeared. So give me receivers who I think are just top tier receivers to bounce back and respond to that criticism. Even if it's against the Chiefs, so we'll see. I think the Chiefs are going to try to kind of stop that Eagles running game primarily, and we'll just see how AJ Brown can do, man. There might be a volume play. He might get seven catches for 66 yards, but I think he's going to bounce back here. It's not as much of a favorite as my next play is. So Stefan, why don't you hit us with yours? You got a receiver play too. You have a couple of receivers.
You've piqued my interest. I also like playing it AJ Brown to score a touchdown at plus 185. That's what I was just looking at. Kind of that same angle as you're talking about. So do you want to hear my favorite prop of the week or my other favorite prop of the week? Because these are both bangers. I'm going to go with my favorite prop. Hollywood Brown over 5.5 receptions at minus 125.
So stupid.
I don't know why this line is where it is. He had 16 targets. He had 59%. Like I jump on RotoViz, look at their advanced stat, 59% target share. I like taking this angle of receptions over yards because I could see him getting a lot of bubble screens, stuff like that. Maybe they can't hit on the vertical stuff, but they can get him horizontal. I think this is going to be a really exciting game back and forth where the Eagles and Chiefs, the Chiefs can't lose. They can't go 0-2, can they?
God, I hope they can, but I think you're right.
I also did have Philadelphia to win this game on the card that didn't make it. So, but I do like Hollywood Brown, and I think Mahomes is going to be very interesting in DFS. But for this, I just love 5.5. Just seems too low. Xavier Worthy out, Rashee Rice out. Who else are they really going to throw to? Him and Travis Kelce.
Old man Travis Kelce.
They're going to have.
Yeah, sorry, I want to make a comment to the old man, the old man, the smarmy Chiefs fans who are listening to this and who are out there. Just you're smart. You have your little smirk on with your Taylor Swift shirt and your red hat. Look, I get it. You all are like, oh, we don't even play for the regular season anyway. They all say the same thing. We don't play for the regular season anymore, and like that, it doesn't even matter. Guess what? If you go 0-2 and all of a sudden, like, Kermit the Frog doesn't get his home field advantage for the entire playoffs like he's used to for his whole career, that is a big deal. You go 0-2 and home field advantage is not looking as great for the Chiefs for the whole playoffs. So I do think it matters and it's a big deal. I had to let my anger out at the Chiefs at least once an episode. So I apologize for interrupting.
You think it's the big deal because it's the first time you're ever going to see the Chiefs start 0-2.
Right.
That's the big deal.
They're still making the Super Bowl. I'm not kidding anyone. Awesome. All right, I'll give you my next one. I have Ja'Marr Chase, anytime touchdown. His receiving yards are at like 83.5. So apparently his game last week didn't matter. Did it go up from 83?
No, I'm saying I still like the over.
Oh, he still might hit that. It. I was just like, man, that's a lot. So just give me I love player props, and I think I've said this a lot the last couple seasons. I love player props that take one play. And that's a Ja'Marr Chase touchdown at minus 140. So
hey,
I love it
against the Jags, so is 83.5 receiving yards.
That's true. I love that.
What's his 2+ touchdown number? Have you seen that? That might be
worth a little bit of a ladder to get 2 touchdowns for Ja'Marr Chase. I would imagine it's sitting somewhere around plus 175 to 200 for sure. But Mike, why don't you guys with your next one?
Yeah, real quick, throwing back
Plus
to the Cardinals
500.
game, plus 500.
Plus
That's
500.
worth a sprinkle.
Oh,
That's
geez.
the side piece.
Trey Benson's line this week is 34.5, according to covers. So that's probably worth taking too. I'm going to go back to the Chargers and take Justin Herbert over 252.5 passing yards. Looked fantastic last week, man. He led the league in success rate at 62.8%, threw for 318 yards. Harbaugh said in the offseason this season that his goal was to get Herbert to the Hall of Fame. And it felt like we actually saw a bit of that philosophy change happen initially. They threw the ball for 58% of plays. That's the exact opposite of what they did last year. Now they play the Raiders, who just gave up 287 yards to Drake May. This is a primetime game. In primetime games in his career, Herbert averages 267 passing yards. With Ladidi McConkey, Keenan Allen's back and looking comfy in that offense. QJ is actually catching the football now. I fully expect Herbert to continue to be unleashed until there's a reason not to. So over 252 here feels pretty straightforward to me.
Early season Justin Herbert, love it. Not that anyone cares about your fantasy team, but I got him in the league I'm in with Mike, and I need Herbert to keep slinging that thing around. So let's go. Stefan, hit us with your other favorite pick of the week.
I'm glad you remembered that. So we all know DK Metcalf has his revenge game coming up in Seattle, but do you know what? He is not the guy that I want to focus on. Jackson Smith-Njigba, the new number 1 in Seattle. I love his receiving prop at over 66.5 receiving yards. I was just talking about Hollywood Brown's targets. Jackson Smith-Njigba, JSN had 13 targets of his own. I jumped on the NFL Stat Explorer over on RotoViz, and it shows you the distribution of his targets. 8 of those targets were 15 plus yards deep. The pass location. So not how many yards he received on it. Like he's getting the ball deep down the field. Only 3 of those 13 targets were less than 5 yards. So he's going vertical. So when he does get the receptions, he's already down the field, able to get you those yards. So 66.5 feels like a low number against a team that let Garrett Wilson and Justin Fields put up like fantasy destroying numbers last week. Garrett Wilson was fantastic last week. I had his numbers here and now I can't find them. But he put up, what was it? I'm looking at the ranks, but he was 3rd in fantasy points over expectation. So all that to say, you can pick on Pittsburgh. I certainly think they will. Give me JSN over 66.5.
I love that play. He's just getting peppered out there in Seattle right now.
Yeah, we need some wide receivers to catch some balls this week, y'all. If this is gonna work out, we need that rock to be getting thrown around the yard with some of these props. But Mike, you have a correlated prop for us, Cowboys props that make a lot of sense. More receiving and passing props.
Yeah, if the Cowboys blow this game, I'm going to be screwed again this week. But give me CeeDee Lamb over 76.5 receiving yards. I'm kind of taking a bit of your approach here, Eric. He had a good game last week, statistically speaking, but he dropped 3 of the biggest passes of his career. I fully expect him to come out and to just be absolutely pissed off over that still. He could put up 200 yards and 3 touchdowns in this game. Let's call it what it is. And as much as he's going to go off, Dak's going to go off with him. So give me Dak over 244.5 passing yards. Get both of those, or get the CD prop at -112, Dak at -113. Talked a lot about this team already, so I'm not going to go any deeper into it. But those are going to be my final plays of the week.
I like stacking them in DFS as well. They're fun and they're not too expensive. Like Dak allows you to buy up to CD, so it's a fun stack for the weekend as well.
Nice. Love that. Well, I love seeing Cowboys fans' hopes get rebuilt so they can get just torn and crushed back down throughout the year. It's a fun fan base to watch and observe. So I want to see the Cowboys do well this week.
I absolutely hate making pro Cowboys picks, so this is taking like every fiber of my being okay with this.
All right. We have all of our picks out now. You made it to the part of the show where we run it down. We're going to talk about game picks, and then we will move into player props. Before we do that, don't forget to follow us over on RotoViz. We're partnering with RotoViz now. If you're following us on RotoViz or listening there, go check us out on YouTube and Instagram and hit all the good buttons for us. Let's run it down. For NFL Week 2 game picks, I have the Bengals -3.5 against the Jaguars. Give me a little parlay of the Cowboys and Cardinals to both win. I have a Rams team total over 23.5 against the Titans. And then give me my Broncos to go into Indianapolis and beat the Colts.
Give me the Cowboys -4.5 at home against the Giants, the Lions -5.5 at home against the Bears, and then a little team total over parlay. Give me the Bills team total over 20.5 with the Eagles team total over 19.5 and get that at -125.
And I'm going to take some road dogs. We're going to go Atlanta +3.5 at Minnesota, and the Buccaneers +3 at Houston. And then a money line parlay. We're going to take Bills and Cardinals to win at -130.
Sweet. Let's take some player props. Give me A.J. Brown and Jamar Chase to bounce back. A.J. Brown over 65.5 receiving yards. Jamar Chase, anytime touchdown, was hanging out at -140 for me.
Give me Justin Herbert over 252.5 passing yards, James Conner over 63.5 rushing yards, CeeDee Lamb over 76.5 receiving yards, and Dak Prescott over 244.5 passing yards.
All right, I'm going to take Hollywood Brown over 5.5 receptions, and Jackson Smith-Njigba over 66.5 receiving yards, and Trevor Lawrence over 21.5 passing attempts. And that's how we're going to close it up.
We're going to make some money this week. Bounce back week for everyone. We will see y'all. Actually, go check out college football. Before I forget, go check out our college football show. And we'll be back to do some soccer as well. And we'll talk to y'all later.